Good morning and welcome. My name is Jane Chodel. I'm the lead programmer for the Special Presentations program at TIFF, and it gives me great pleasure to welcome you to this morning's press conference for the swimmers. As you join us, we encourage you to reflect on the land that you are on, who the traditional keepers of the land are, what the treaty relationship is, or if it's unceded territory. We are located on the treaty lands and territory of the Mississaugas of the New Credit and the traditional territory of the Anishinaabe, the Wendat, and the Haudenosaunee. The territory is within the lands protected by the Dish with One Spoon Wampum Belt Covenant and is home to many First Nations, Inuit, and Métis people. We are grateful to work on this land. During the event today, I kindly ask that you refrain from photography or filming of any kind. Photos are going to be made available on our press site. And we'd like to extend a big thank you to our media partner, Twitter. We are so excited to be live streaming this press conference at TIFF Industry. The Swimmers is the opening film of the TIFF 2022 festival in our gala program. The Swimmers tells this remarkable true tale of sisters Yusra and Sara Mardini, who fled their home in war-torn Damascus to seek a new life in Europe and earn the chance to compete in the Olympics. Directed by Sally El Hosaini, best known for My Brother the Devil, and written by Jack Thorne, who wrote TIFF 19's The Aeronauts. This is a moving story of two young women refugees and their inspiring reach for a better life. Nathalie Issa and Manal Issa, sisters in real life, deliver outstanding performances as Yusra and Sara, full of the passion and emotional intimacy that can only come from a lifetime lived together. Propelled by gripping events and El Hosaini's powerful cinematic storytelling, The Swimmers is a testament to perseverance in the face of unspeakable adversity. But the heart of the film is the relationship between two sisters, fiercely holding on to life and their love for each other. I was deeply moved by this film when I saw it. I, like so many other people, am the child of refugees and was aware, both emotionally and practically, of my family's experiences, those they spoke of and those of which they could not speak of. Millions of people flee their countries because of war, famine, and violence in search of the most basic human necessities, such as food, shelter, and safety. I would wish that after seeing this film, people would not see refugees as stereotypes. They are me, they are mine, they are you, they are all of us. I'd now like to welcome our cast and other guests to the stage. Please join me in welcoming Matthias Schweighöfer, who plays Sven, and welcome Sven Spannenkrebs, the real-life subject. Please welcome the real-life subjects of our films, Sara and Yusra Mardini, the actresses Manal and Nathalie Issa, who play Sara and Yusra, and our director, Sally El Hosaini. Welcome and congratulations to you all. Our first question, all of these have been submitted by the press in advance. Our first question is for you, Sally. This is a film with such a powerful message about survival and hope. Can you talk more about what drew you to the project and why you felt it was so important to highlight this story now?
Yeah, I mean, the main thing was Yusra and Sara themselves. They're so inspirational, what they went through, and who they are as people. They reminded me of myself when I was younger. I'm half Egyptian and grew up in Egypt. And there's a certain type of young Arab woman that I don't see on screens that's liberal, that's modern, bilingual. And they reminded me of me and my friends growing up. And I just thought, you know, this is an opportunity for me to put those experiences through the lens of their story.
You've put together such an amazing cast here. Can you speak a little bit about the search for the actresses to play these people that you were so moved by?
Yeah, initially I wanted to cast Syrian girls in the role, and we started that process. We soon learnt that most of the Syrian young women who were contenders for the role were refugees and had paperwork issues, and there was a lot of red tape, and they weren't going to be able to film in all the countries we wanted to film in. So we expanded the search to the Levant, which is kind of the closest. It was very important to me that I found actors who were native Arabic speakers, who could act in Arabic as well as English. And it was an incredible find to find these two sisters. So I knew about Manal through her work in Lebanon, her Lebanese independent films. And when she was auditioning, she told me she had a sister. And that was the start of Nathalie coming into this. Her sister didn't want to act and was studying literature and doing her master's. So fast forward to eventually inviting them both to a screen test. Their chemistry was so incredible. It was a no-brainer to me that they were the right sisters.
I think we can all agree they are indeed the right sisters. Now, I wanted to jump right away to some of it. You should applaud them. Thank you. Yes. I'd like to move right into some of the filming that you encountered there. One of the most dominant and moving and touching scenes of the film is, of course, the cross-sea crossing. Can you speak a little bit about shooting on the water and all of the challenges? I mean...
Yeah, so all the daytime crossing we did for real. So we went to the place in Turkey, the Aegean coast, where dinghies are still crossing. And actually, when we were on our recce's, we saw boats crossing in front of us while we were wrecking those beaches. So we were really going to the place where this is still happening. Wow. And we put the boat in the water and filmed it for real. So there was a little camera dinghy alongside the real dinghy. And all of that daytime crossing is done for real. We cast a lot of refugees in the boat who had done that same journey. And that, I think, informed the vibe and the feeling on the boat. And when you're out at sea like that, you can't take a break, you can't stop. So it was an incredible bonding experience. I mean, I saw all these individuals get on the dinghy, and then by the time they got off on our first day of open water filming, they were really bonded like a family.
That's remarkable. This is a question for Nathalie. You have talked about how you had the opportunity to meet with Yusra as you were taking on the role of her within the film. Can you talk more about those interactions and what you learned from Yusra that you were able to take into the role?
So the first time I met Yusra, it was before I go to London for the prep, and I was really intimidated first. But then after 5 minutes, it was so good. We're making jokes. We really had a great chemistry. And I didn't really ask her a lot about her journey and everything. I really wanted to know her personally, her life now and everything. Of course, I asked her a bit of questions, but what was important for me is to know her now, how she is, to see how we interact, how she interacts, how she feels about everything. And when I started the prep, when I started swimming, when I started working out, all I was thinking about was her, and I felt a huge responsibility to represent her, and all I wanted was for her to feel good and to be happy, and I'm so happy she loved it, and I thank her for the trust she gave me. And yeah, we had a lot of fun, and I even slept at her place the first time, and it was so good. It's just, yeah, it was all natural.
And Manal and Sarah, could I ask you the same question about what you took?
We didn't have the chance to meet before, so we just spoke a bit on the phone, on Instagram, and also to state, we know Yusra and Sara basically from the script, from how we received the script. So we discovered their story and how they are from the script. So yeah.
Another question from the press. This film is about perseverance. Did you also have to persevere to make the movie? And does being the opening film of TIFF feel like your perseverance paid off in an extra special way?
Absolutely. No, we're thrilled to be the opening film of TIFF. Truly, it's just a fantastic platform for the film. And we filmed during COVID. We went into pre-production and then actually had to shut down. And there was a gap where we didn't know if the film would come back together as a result of COVID. And then it did. And so there was that kind of false start in a way. And then I think it took a lot of perseverance from all, because Manal and Nathalie couldn't swim when they took the role. So they certainly persevered with their training.
I was just going to say, could we speak a little bit about that?
Actually, the first time I received the offer, I refused it because of this.
Because she had a water phobia.
Yeah, because I couldn't swim, we couldn't even float.
Yeah, also, even when she told me about the movie, she was like, oh, it's about swimmers. I was like, forget about it. Like, I'm not gonna swim. Let me finish my studies and we'll see. But then I read the script, I wanted. So yes, we had prep for 2 months, and it was really hard at first. But then we persevered, and once you know how to float, actually it's nice, the water, and you just want to butterfly and you just want to freestyle. And once you have a goal, you want to reach it. So I remember my coach Adele, we used to swim only 2 hours. I used to beg her, like, can we swim more? I really want to achieve it. Like, it's really, and it helped a lot for us to reach the character. Yes. During the prep, while swimming and everything, it really helps you to enter the character and to understand how you feel in the water and how you feel when you want to achieve something. And I was entering the character through the prep since the first day. So yeah.
And the other nice little bit is that real Sven actually gave Nathalie her first swimming lessons because Nathalie was in Berlin and it was lockdown. And so the only pool we could access was Sven's pool. And so they actually, you were the first one to teach Nathalie to swim.
How do you feel about it?
There is a beautiful symmetry about
How
that.
do you like it, Sven?
It was really fun the first days. A lot of tears, no, not so much tears, more laughing. Yeah, but a lot of fun. And but I was a little bit confused the first moment because I asked her, yeah, can you swim? And she said, yeah, I can swim. And then she went to the pool and there was like, oh, okay, we start with the first steps. Don't fear the water.
And Yusra actually doubled for herself in the movie, in the butterfly swimming.
Oh, good heavens.
Super weird.
I'm me swimming, playing myself swimming.
I mean, no, it was, they were literally on the set. They were like, Yusra too. I was like, no, I'm the original one.
This is quite remarkable. I have another question from the press for Matthias. Being from Germany, this is not the first time that you have crossed paths with the Mardini sisters. Can you talk about how you became familiar with their story and how it must be a really full circle moment to be here with this group now?
Oh yeah, it was we met 2016, right? And I received an award for as a best director, and then I was like pretty proud. It was an award show in Germany, and it was my first award for directing, and I was super proud. I was, thank you so much. And then the Mardini sisters stepped up on stage, and they received an award for it was Silent Heroes. And then I heard the story, and I saw them on stage, and the whole, all the crowd was, everyone was silent and impressed, and just like couldn't believe it that the story was true. And I looked at my award, and I thought, that's the story I need to direct this film.
Too bad.
And and then I met Sally, and that was insane. My agent called me, and then I met Sally, and she came up with that story, and I told her that story, and that was amazing. And here we are in Toronto, opening night.
There just seem to be so many of these symmetries about this film, all meant to be. It's amazing to see, this is another question from the press, it's amazing to see so many strong women as part of this conversation, but also even more amazing that you are all Middle Eastern. This must make you feel so proud. Can you talk more about why this representation is important?
Yeah, I'm happy to answer.
Yes.
I think what
was very fascinating. And the first point when we were so happy that Sally is directing the movie, the fact that we are from the same background. And what we highlighted, and it's sad, to be honest, it's very sad that in the Western societies or in the Western world, we're not seen as what we are. We're not different than so many other women. We're same, like the girls are growing up in the Middle East. So being Middle Eastern or not, I think it shouldn't be different, seen different for us. And that's what we wanted to show in this movie, that we were growing up like this since, we're living in the Middle East, and we grew up in Syria. The girls grew up in Lebanon, and Sally grew up in Egypt. But nothing changed. We were raised from the beginning to be how we are right now, and we're not modern or different than any other girls who's growing up at home. So that's what is really important to show, that we're beyond just being married or falling in love or so. The Middle Eastern history is very big, so I hope people will start to change their ideas about the Middle Eastern women, yeah?
Please, yes.
Yeah, I was just going to say that, 2015 in Syria was not that long ago. And, the girls listened to the same music as many other young girls all over the world. In fact, the music in the movie came from Yusra's playlist, because one of the first things I did was get her to send me her working out training playlists and her other playlists. So I got all her Spotify playlists. She has a lot of Sia on there, a lot of Eminem as well.
I actually have Apple Music.
Oh, okay. Yeah, so a lot of the music in the movie came, from them.
Could you speak a little bit more about how you feel the impact of this film what it might do for the representation of Middle Eastern women going forward? It's clear that so many people are inspired by this incredible true story, but will this kick something off for film? Will we see a broader reach for this representation that you spoke so kindly of?
I hope so.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Could you speak a little bit too about your relationship with your screenwriter, going back to the genesis of the project? He's very well known. Can you speak about how you came together and the process of working?
Absolutely. So it was actually Jack's script that got me involved in the first place, because when I was first contacted about this and my agent said, oh, it's a film about Syrian refugees, I thought, oh, this is going to be very reactive to the headlines, and it's going to be really depressing, it's going to have a certain tone. And when I read the script, what he'd done so brilliantly was he had taken it beyond being the underdog story of someone who then becomes a refugee to an Olympian, and the very obvious heroic journey that Yusra, story embodies. And he'd made it about two sisters. And so there was not just a more obvious hero, there was an unsung hero as well, just as heroic. And for me, it was that sister relationship that I just related to as a big sister and a little sister myself. I saw that this was really a love story between sisters, how two young women go from competitors to true sisterhood through this journey.
Thank you. Can I ask each of you in turn then, perhaps, what would be the message that you would like the world to take away after seeing this film? Could we start with you, Matthias?
It's. I think for me, the message in the film is that every moment, you have to look to your left, to your right, help wherever you can, and it's not about your ego; it's about other people, and to be brave and help to live a life wherever you can, and fulfill dreams, and just be responsible. Don't look away.
Sven?
Yeah. I was part of the story, so for me, I also changed a lot of my understanding of refugees and people from the Middle East. And I think this is most important, that especially the so-called Western world, white privileged people will see the rest of the world differently, and to realize, okay, we are all on this planet and we are all the same in a way, and we have the same goals, we have the same way of living, just cultural differences, okay, but finally everyone is the same and everyone has the same rights and the same visions.
I think for me it's the same what in the movie that Sally showed it. I will really wish and hope that this might be a way that people to understand that borders should be open and shouldn't be dividing anyone. No one should suffer because of their background or where they come from. No selective empathy, that we all treat everybody the same way, that, you know, at the end of the day, everybody saw the story now. No one puts themselves in a dinghy if that wasn't the last hope that you have. And we're speaking about kids and speaking about families that got apart and everything. So I will really encourage people to, again, you know, leave your ego at the door and see how you can help others by just campaigning or speaking up, or at least just, a little hashtag say open the borders and everybody is welcome here. Leave no one behind. This is the easiest things we can do, I think.
For me, I think it's very important that the story is out for both refugees and normal people, because we are in the end one. We're just ordinary people who went through really, really rough journeys. We shouldn't look at a refugee in a certain way or expect them to look in a certain way or expect them to have or not to have. We get asked so many ridiculous questions about what did I have in Syria, how did Syria look like, and it's a country full of culture, and it's sad that not a lot of people know about it. And I think the movie shows, and as Sally said, they filmed the boat scene as example in an area where it's still happening. Our goal is to put the conversation about refugees back on the table, to tell everyone it's still happening, you can help. And I think here in Toronto, everyone knows and everyone dealt with refugees before, and it's an amazing city to launch the movie or to have the world premiere. And our goal from it would be to let refugees know that it's okay to share your story. We will believe you. We know that you went through it. Because when the trailer came out, lots of people said thank you. And that's so sad. They said, thank you for sharing your story. I couldn't share mine. And throughout your story, I can now say, look, it happened to her, it happened to her, it happened to them, it happened to me too. Because lots of people, when you tell them the story about a refugee, they do not believe it. Because it is so crazy. It is really a movie. And to people, just to let them know that we really are normal. We have dreams, we have goals. Sometimes you're just afraid to pursue them after those tough journeys. Sometimes, you can see the ego of us swimming in the movie with me. I'm just gonna go to the coach and tell him whether he wants or not, I'm gonna do it. We are very, very excited, and we hope this movie will change a lot around the world and will open the doors to refugees and let people know that they can help.
All great things have been said, but I just want to say if it changes at least one person's mind, it's already a big win. So I really hope it will change a lot of people's mind about refugees and everything. But also what I want to say, what's also wonderful about this movie, it also depicts a lot of sorts of refugee. I love the character of Nizar, who actually represents a lot of refugees who are still struggling with paperwork, who are not happy to be actually in a foreign country and who are still struggling in everything. So I really hope they will understand that people who run away from their country, who are here, struggle and still are struggling. And I hope people, will change their mind and will be able to help more and be more understandable and everything.
And it's actually very saddening that we're saying we hope that the people will change their mind, and we're in 2022. But anyway, my message would be not about the refugees, and now hopefully we won't be refugees anymore, and the war will stop, and the bad situation in our countries will stop. And it starts also from Europe and the US and all these countries, the big countries. Hopefully they will stop taking advantage of our countries, and we won't have to be refugees anymore and leave our countries. This is my message. So please, I don't know, it's just too much. Hopefully we can go back to our countries soon. And it will be better because, we don't deserve, nobody deserves to live in war or without electricity or without food or I was thinking of the Palestinians, the Syrians, the Lebanese people, all this. It's very sad, sadly.
Yeah, nobody chooses to be a refugee. And for me, it would be to just remind people that refugees are ordinary people like them. And, Nathalie touched on it. In the character of Nizar, it was very important to me to show that as unique and incredible and inspirational as Yusra and Sara's story is, they are the 1%. And the 99% have Nizar's experience. And through developing all those the family of travelers that they travel with, I really wanted to show all the different backgrounds and develop them as three-dimensional people on that journey with hopes and dreams and aspirations. And even Yusra's journey to accepting that she was a refugee was true to what she experienced. And in speaking to a lot of refugees, when do you actually become one? Is it in the airspace when you cross out of Syria? When you guys were in the plane on your way to Turkey? Like, where's the point where you actually become a refugee? Because you all have a home. And that was very powerful for me. The main thing in the movie for me was the sibling story being a universal sibling story and having that as the center and heart of it allows an audience to really empathize with the girls. And I think empathy is so much more powerful than sympathy. And that was really my ambition with the movie, was to allow an audience to really step inside the shoes of these young women and join them on that journey.
I know I speak for the hundreds of people who saw it last night and the thousands more that will see it, the millions more that I hope will see it. You accomplished that goal, and I thank you very much for that. I'd like to congratulate you all so much on making a tremendous film, for giving us the honor of premiering it here in Toronto, and I wish you nothing but the best going forward.
Thank you.
Thank you so much
Thank
for
you.
being with us today. Thank you for being with us. Thank you all.